it's Frances from the Rejoicing Vine, and today we're going to be doing some winter sowing. So this is my second year doing winter sowing, and I learned quite a bit from doing it last year when none of my thousands of seeds actually survived. This year I'm going about things quite differently. This is a great way to start your plants from seed, and then by the time they're ready to go in the ground, say in May, you already have some plants that are well on their way to growing. I'm going to do some vegetables today, tomatoes, lettuce. I'm also going to do some flowers, black-eyed Susans, echinacea. When we're ready to plant, we'll have plenty of options to go from. I'll walk you through the different steps. So a few things that you will need. I made my own mix. So you want a soil that's very loose, very airy. This has peat moss as well as the vermicell in it. You can see a little bit down here. It's almost like a foam just to help keep the soil very loose so the water's not sitting in it. And so the roots that are growing aren't just sitting in water, and the water is able to run through nicely. I have our planting trays, and then I have another tray that will go underneath. This is to catch the water, but this also has holes in it. And so I put a lot of holes into the bottom here. I did this last year, and I just pretty much did it with a drill. It was very easy. And that's so the water's not sitting in the bottom and again, rotting the roots of the plants that you're gonna be growing. Beyond that, you need gardening gloves, you need water, and then we'll use domes that will go over the top to serve as our mini greenhouses. So let's get started. Okay, so now I'm going to start to fill my trays just with soil. I'm going to fill the trays about 3/4 of the way up. As you can see, that's about as high as I'm filling the trays. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just try to get them to a similar height. Now we are going to push down the soil. Then we will add water over the top. Now that we have added water over the soil, we're letting it dry out for a little bit. The water's gonna kind of bead at the top of the soil, and it takes probably 20 to 30 minutes for that water to work its way all the way through. So now it's a great time to pick the seeds that we're going to be doing. I've collected seeds from all over. I have family that have sent me seeds from flowers that they've had. Where we live, the library has free seeds that they give away. There's all sorts of seed swaps you can go to. So if you have your own seeds, you can even swap with other people. And we even sell seeds in our tasting room. Our son Caleb has a business called Caleb Super Seed World. He and his sister have a seed business. They mainly sell wildflower seeds, so seeds like zinnias, sunflowers, and it's never too early to get started. I'm gonna start some black-eyed Susans. Black-eyed Susans need to start when it's cold out, so now is a great time to do winter sowing with them. I've wanted to grow corn for quite some time, so I have a couple different varieties of corn that I'm going to be growing. My daughter loves watermelon, so we'll give that a try. I'm gonna try to have a pergola this year, and so some vining green beans. We've got some seeds here at a seed swap. So these are tomatoes. I also have heirloom tomatoes that we're going to try out as well. Some chive seeds. So I have just quite the variety that I'll be starting. I would recommend having a permanent marker, scissors, as well as something to label with. And then really as you go along, you're labeling, putting that into the tray so you know exactly which plants you planted where. So now that we have let the water run into our trays, I'm just gonna go through and squish the soil down a little so it's a little compact. Not too compact because we still want the water to be able to move through, but we're also just making room for our seeds that will go on top, and then additional soil and a little bit of water after that. Now I'm gonna go in with my seeds. I've already added my labels here. You can use a chopstick or even a toothpick. Dip it in some water, and then it very nicely will pick up one seed. And I'm going to put 2 seeds per container. And that's really because each seed may not germinate. If you put 2 in a container, then you increase the likelihood of germinating a seed in each cell. Now I'm going to add soil back over the top, just a thin layer to cover the seeds, and then I will add water on top of that. And not too much. You don't want the seeds to overflow into its neighbor's compartment. I definitely have made that mistake previously. I also made the mistake of planting way too many seeds in a single cell. Lastly, we're going to put our domes on top. They don't have to be exactly fitting. You want to make sure that you have aeration holes at the top so that the plants can breathe, and so you're not, again, just accumulating a lot of water and getting mold in there. And then taping up the sides so that the top won't fall off. Just something that will be able to hold the warmth in. But on days where it starts to get really warm outside, you want to make sure that you are taking the tops off, because a 70-degree day outside, it can be 90 to 100 degrees inside, and that will fry and burn all of the plants that are starting to grow, which was an issue that I faced last year. The other thing you can look for is once this is outside, you'll start to see a little bit of condensation forming inside, and you want that. If you notice that there's no condensation forming on the inside, then you could always take the tops off, add a little more water, just to make sure that there is some consistent moisture in there, but it's not overly wet for the plants. And there you have it. We have our seeds all put out. We put it in our raised garden bed to keep it safe. And just make sure you're putting it in a sunny place, and then you're just waiting. Be sure to check on it, make sure that they're staying damp on the inside or has some condensation on the inside, so you know that they're not getting too dried out.